Hey, as all the kids say, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome in again. It's the Sixth Floor Podcast. I'm Yap. There is Sags in the upper left. There's Breeze in the lower left. And there's Bang Bang in the lower right because
never going to not be funny.
There you go. All right. So I guess Breeze is running the ship here tonight as we continue talking about crap and nothing, hoping, fingers crossed, for a special guest on today's show. Now, we've sent out the invitation to 3 different special guests. We'll see if any of them show up. They probably got word of how this show goes and they won't be here. Anyway.
No chance.
So, Breeze, you've got the topic this week. So what are we talking about?
Well, we kind of kicked around this idea a few weeks ago. And my idea is that since sports, we weren't able to watch sports for a couple of months a while back, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of see what we were watching instead of what we would normally be watching, which was NBA basketball or NCAA tournament or whatever. So I just wanted to talk tonight about some of the things that we were watching to kind of pass the time while we didn't have sports.
All right. And we've all watched something, I'm presuming. Otherwise, this is going to be a very short episode.
Maybe not.
Okay. Okay, well, Breeze, just take off with it then.
All right, so I'm going to start out with the thing that really was kind of on my radar, top of the every Saturday night, pretty much. Instead of watching NBA basketball on ABC, I was turning to the cooking channel and watching some culinary competition with Iron Chef America. Ooh. And I got totally hooked on that show.
Did they have pulled pork?
No, they didn't have any pulled pork.
Well, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know where to go from that.
So yeah, that kind of helped satiate my competitive needs there watching that show, because they go at it pretty hard. They get 60 minutes. I don't know if you're not familiar with the show, you get 60 minutes to make 5 different courses with the secret ingredient. And whatever the secret ingredient is, you have to figure out all these different ways to present the ingredient to the judges. So like, for example, they'll have an episode where the secret ingredient is cauliflower. And you have to make cauliflower the star of 5 different dishes, and you have to use it in every way imaginable. They'll make like cauliflower ice cream, and they'll just get really creative and really.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it does.
I know, and that's the thing about the show, is that they take ingredients like that and they turn it into things that you would think, oh my God, this is horrible, but it's amazing, and what they can do with it. So I just got totally hooked on that show. That was the number one.
I bet one of the ingredients was oatmeal raisin cookies.
Yeah.
Sorry, Breeze, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. So the other cooking channel show that I liked was a show called Good Eats. Have any of you guys heard of that one?
I've heard of it, haven't watched it.
Okay, Good Eats is hosted by Alton Brown, who's also the host of Iron Chef America, by the way. A little side note there. But what he does is that he'll take kind of common items that we would normally make, like brownies or scrambled eggs or whatever it is, just kind of simple things. And he kind of goes into the science behind why things turn out the way they do, like why a cake rises in the oven, or why carbohydrates hook to a sugar, and how the different foods that we make, how it ends up getting when you're cooking it, how it kind of works and becomes what it ultimately becomes. So he kind of takes a simple ingredient or a simple dish and shows how most people make that dish, and then he'll kind of go into the science behind why sometimes that might not be the best way to cook it. And he'll show you a better way to cook it. Once again, kind of using the science behind it. So that's
Alton Brown, by the way, is also the host of a great cooking show that I used to watch. I don't even know if it's on anymore with new episodes. Cutthroat Kitchen. Have you ever seen Cutthroat Kitchen?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Oh, man. It's like Sags, you probably remember this. When we played spoons years ago and we had these tortures, like if you spelled out spoon, you guys are familiar with the game Spoons, right? You got the cards and one less spoon, like musical chairs with cards. Okay, well, whenever you spelled out spoons, we played with tortures. So you would write a torture down and drop it in a hat. And if you spelled out spoons, you draw a torture out, and whatever it is, well, guess what? You're hosed. And it's kind of like that. Because you start cooking and maybe you've got to cook with one arm tied behind your back, or you're blindfolded, or you're in a cage, or you can't use knives. You have to use your hands. Really cool concept of a show. They did not, however, do the what was
Rug burns on the knees was one of the worst.
Yeah, that was the worst. There was like what would dog food, some kind of dog food and mayonnaise or something.
Had to eat that. Had to drink pickle juice. Had to run down at your driveway, which is probably about 30 yards, maybe.
Maybe longer than that. Yeah.
30 to 40 yards barefoot, full speed
in the snow,
and then stop before you get to the end. Which stopping in bare feet in like no socks, that was terrible. Phil, y'all had this one. It was like icy hot, but it was like prescription grade.
It was called Banaug,
and you had to put that under your armpits. It was, man, I have PTSD from it. It was.
And the thing is, when you got down, if you were battling somebody like you both had spoon and you didn't want that S, there was a full-out war for that last spoon. I mean, you would bend it around somebody's finger. You were kicking
Blood
and
was
punching.
spilled.
Oh man, it was like a cage match. It was great. Loved it.
Was this on the rough streets of Ripley?
Absolutely.
It was.
Wow.
Mountaineer Lane was one place you didn't want to be when a Spoons game was throwing down.
Sounds rough.
You're in the wrong part of town, man.
So there's watching, like I said, on Good Eats, they took like kind of simple, traditional, kind of easy things that most people normally make when they're cooking. Whereas Iron Chef America kind of gets experimental with their techniques and kind of ingredients and stuff. And there's two things that from Good Eats that I've picked up on. I've made my scrambled eggs much better after watching that show. And then my brownies, I've also gotten a lot better after watching that show. There's a couple tips on he did with brownies that greatly improved my brownie game. So, you learn something on some of these shows. You pick up a few things.
What's the scrambled egg tip? I eat that every morning.
Well, usually what I had done in the past is I was overcooking my eggs. And so his biggest thing was stressing about not cooking the eggs very long. Mm-hmm. And then he also used sour cream as one of his kind of secret ingredients to put in with the egg. It adds a little fluffier and a little creamier. That's kind of, personal preference. But the biggest thing was just overcooking the eggs for me.
Yeah, I like them runny.
Uh-oh. Wait, you guys aren't going to believe this. You guys aren't going to believe the special guest is here.
Bring him in.
Making this up. Here
or
we go.
Her.
Here we go.
Or her.
And
oh,
look who it is.
Sideways too.
Sideways Corso.
That's how I remember him.
Gentlemen.
Welcome to the show, Corso.
Good Lord, there we go. I got to flip her around here. I got to back it up, flip it here. And how we doing, gentlemen?
What's
Good,
up, man?
What's up?
Living the dream.
Also a sixth floor alum.
Is there a way to get all of you on here?
Yeah, there should be a what is it, a grid view?
Called gallery
there's
view.
it's called a grid or gallery view. It'll
There we go.
Yeah, see?
All of us in our glory.
Now, Corso, we welcome you in and tell you about this podcast. It's the Sixth Floor Podcast. It's a podcast about everything. And so far, we've done this on YouTube for 2 weeks. Between week 1 and week 2, our viewership has doubled. So we're hoping that you can kind of add to that.
Oh, buddy, I'm dragging us straight to the basement here. Seriously, it's
a short trip. We've only got 2 views, so.
Come on now.
Yeah, so we're already sitting on the stairs, ready to walk on down.
Yeah. the door's open and the light's on, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's right. Now there were 2 more invitations sent. I don't know that either one of those is going to show up, but I'm glad that Corso did, because we've been trying to book you as a guest for weeks upon end.
I'd rather be booked by you guys than the HPD, so we're good.
Now it's funny because Breeze was just talking about some of the shows that he has watched since sports was out, and he's been hooked on cooking shows, and I know that's right up your alley.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. That's I've jumped off of the cooking shows, and now I'm a potential survivalist. Me and you talked about it. I've been naked and afraid. I've just never been alone. And both of those shows right now are I'm in. You know, dropping people off in Vancouver Island with a buck knife and a tent, and there's bears everywhere, and God knows what else.
The Naked and Afraid, you know, if I was on Naked and Afraid, it'd be Naked and Dead. I couldn't survive out there. There's no way.
Well, the difference between the two shows, you know, Naked and Afraid, I've seen them in the bayou and I've seen them out in the desert. They're naked, but like they're doing 20 some days and then tapping out. Alone, these guys are building canoes and ukuleles, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't think I'd miss my family. You're on a show called Alone. What did you think you were going to do?
So you were doing that 25 years ago. It wasn't Naked and Afraid. It was Naked and Drunk.
Well, that still happens sometimes. Still happens. It's even better to do that alone these days, though. It keeps me out of trouble.
Oh man,
What cooking shows are you watching?
I was on Iron Chef America for a while, and then a show called Good Eats. Have you ever heard that one?
Yeah, Good Eats is good. Best Thing I Ever Ate is good because they take people from the Cooking Channel and Food Network, and basically they'll just name a topic and they just give you all these places. It's like the best ice cream. So a half hour of all these chefs and whatever giving you, well, this place. So there's a lot of good ones out there. I always watch those, but my late night stuff has been the survivalists.
I'm with you there. I love Alone. I watched Alone. I think there are 7 seasons now. I think I watched 6 seasons in like 2.5 weeks. I mean, I got hooked on that thing.
Yeah, we're halfway through season 2, and it just, you can tell people have watched the show and are progressing with their techniques for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Breeze, you wrapped up your shows, or you have any more?
Well, I was just going to mention one other. I also with the Home and Garden channel. You ever heard of the Homes on Homes?
Yes.
Have you heard? Yeah, Homes on Homes. I was hooked on him for a while, and then he has a side show called Homes Makes It Right, and I was hooked on that for a while as well. He's just a big, kind of stereotypical construction-looking guy. He's got shaved head. He's big, thick neck, big, thick barrel chest, and he's Canadian. And what he does is that he'll go into a house that somebody hired a contractor and they ripped them off or did a really crappy job or whatever. So he comes in and fixes all their mistakes that the other person did and makes it way better. So it's interesting show if you're kind of a home improvement kind of nerd.
If you're getting on those Maine Cabin Masters,
yeah, that's the show I'm watching now.
dude. That's a look at Sags over there, just like, what are you guys doing?
You're killing me.
Well, what are you watching, for God's sake?
Well, I don't know if it's my turn. I'm going to keep it a secret until got to go around the horn.
Do you have multiple cameras in the bubble down in Orlando?
Me and LeBron are hanging out.
All right. Well, he's opened the door there, Sag. So let's have it.
Well, I really only have one new one that I watched. I watched TV Land, was running this string of marathons of Everybody Loves Raymond and King of Queens, and I just watched those on repeat forever because there's just nothing else on. I'm not a big cooking guy. I appreciate the shows, but just doesn't, do it for me. You can only watch so much Property Brothers before, you kind of tap out on that. But the show that is totally new that I hadn't seen, Philia actually turned me on to, and it's amazing. I've already finished it, waiting for the last season to come up, is Vikings. It was on the History Channel, and it's a show about this Viking. His name is Ragnar Lothbrok, and how his ascension into power, and then throughout his life. And it is 1,000% legit. I don't want to give anything away, but if you're on, it's on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, check it out. There's 6 seasons. First couple seasons are like 10 episodes. Then it jumps to like a 22 episode season. And I think like 4, 5, and 6 are like that. But it is, it's an awesome show. And that's really the only new one I watched, and I watched a lot of YouTube, as Corso alluded to, some hoops. I watched pickup games and just, whatever. Rico Hines runs a basketball thing out in California. So I watched some old stuff of that, and just, that's it. One new show for me. I'm a very simple person.
It's a great show. And to be honest with you, when that first came out, it piqued my interest because it was Vikings. And of course, Ripley Vikings, I had to turn it on, and it was some kind of drama. I thought it was like based on what the Vikings did and all that. And I was like, I'm not watching this. And that was several years ago. Well, during this lockdown, my wife was watching it, and I kind of started watching it, and I got hooked on it, and episode after episode. And then Sags, I told you about it. You actually caught me and passed me in watching it, and you were like 3 seasons behind me. It was unbelievable.
I did the LeBron chase down block on you.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, Phil asked me, he goes, "What episode, John?" I said like season 2, episode 4. He goes, "Okay, that's cool." And like 3 days later, he's like, "Where are you at now?" I was like, season 6, episode 20. He's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, slow down.
Don't ruin anything. Don't ruin
What happened? So, but that's mine. Vikings, check it out. Again, it's. I guess there was a real Ragnar Lothbrok. I haven't looked too much into it, but I don't know.
Lothbrok's boy.
Yeah. I don't know how factual it is and everything, but it is.
He played for the Hearts
legit.
of the Whalers, didn't he?
He did.
I think so.
He did play for the Whalers.
Yeah.
But it's a legit show.
It is based on historical stuff about the Vikings. I mean, some of these characters were real, and there are a lot of different twists in it. And you're just, oh my gosh, really? How in the world did that happen? But it's really good. Yeah.
Crazy. So really good.
All right, Johnson, bang, bang, if you will.
All right. Everything that everyone's already talked about sounds really interesting. And I'll probably at some point in my life check all of them out. I've heard nothing but great things about Vikings, but since this pandemic started, I fortunately have not had the trouble that a lot of people have had with employment. In fact, my job has been crazier and more busier, even with working at home. So a lot of the things that I've watched, I've had on as, background noise, so to speak. So I've watched a lot of Cheers reruns. I've watched a lot of Family Feud. Other than that, I haven't watched anything. I didn't watch Tiger King. I didn't watch the Michael Jordan documentary.
I didn't see that.
I just, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just I'm at the computer so much trying to keep up with DHHR numbers and Jim Justice catchphrases and high school football cancellations. I need something on that where I can kind of pay attention to what's going on with all this stuff. And then when I have some free time, I usually just go outside with my dog. That's been my biggest entertainment is, we got a puppy right around Christmas, and he's my little buddy, and he takes me for a walk as much as I take him. So that's been my big enjoyment, through all this. So
what's his name?
Sorry. Oliver.
Just
Al
asking.
Oliver?
Oliver, yep.
Like the Brady Bunch kid?
Didn't see you as an Expos fan.
I wanted to name him Angus because he's an Australian Shepherd. The wife and daughter vetoed that, and the daughter actually named him Oliver. I'm not sure where she got it from, but so I usually just call him Good Boy or Buddy anyway. So, but yeah, and it's like, I mean, Vikings especially. I mean, that sounds like something that, like in normal circumstances, would be right up my alley, and I'll get to it if this stuff ever goes away.
Yeah.
Just wear a mask.
That's
Make sure
great.
you wear
That's
the right
great news
mask.
that's great news that you don't have time to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I have watched Vikings. We talked about that with Sags. There's a show that I think it was right before the pandemic I got hooked on, maybe a little before that, a show on ABC called The Goldbergs. I think I mentioned that to you guys before. It's a comedy set in the 80s, and it's hilarious. Love that show. And recently, and this was totally by accident, my wife has been watching the show Bones. Y'all remember that show on Fox?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, we watched that quite a bit.
It's like every time I come home, it's on. And I'm like, I think I'm going to sit down and watch this. Well, then I get hooked in it. I'm like, oh, man, come on. I don't want to watch this. It's another show I don't have time to watch. But, I did. So there was that. And, of course, like we said, Vikings, Family Feud. I don't watch whole shows of Family Feud. I just watch clips. Steve Harvey making his facial, whatever he does.
Yes, he asks the most sexually inappropriate question and then is shocked when they answer sexually.
Right, exactly.
I tell you, though, as much as I've watched it, the five of us could take out a lot of families I've seen on there.
No doubt. And Alone, of course, I watched that a bunch. And it made me think, all right, so you got five of us now on here. Of the five of us, if we all went on the show alone, you're out there by yourself, you're running your own camera, you're building your own, survival stuff, you're getting your own food, who would survive the longest?
Corso.
Yeah, Corso.
Yeah.
I'm dead in 20 minutes, bro. I'm out.
Well, there was a guy on the first season gets on there and he's talking about how I'm a law enforcement agent in Pittsburgh or, Pennsylvania, blah, blah, blah. I deal with this every day. He goes to lay down the first night and hears 3 wolves howling. He's on the satellite phone. Y'all come get me now. Now, right now. Come get me. That's me.
Oh, man.
That
All
would
right.
be, yeah.
Now, I guess has everybody had their shows? Corso, you said Alone and Naked and Afraid. Those are the two you've been watching?
The Main Cabin Masters.
Yeah.
Not going to lie, I'm waiting for my guilty pleasure, $1 Million Listings, New York. And
I'm sure you say the Kardashians.
Well, I found the show because I was just flipping channels one day, and it's kind of reality showish. I mean, it's obviously real estate in New York, but I'm flipping channels, and this guy's like, well, we're going to go look at this 2-bedroom apartment, blah, 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 for $6.4 million. I'm like, that's what caught my, it's not the storylines or whatever, but it's just seeing what people are paying in like Manhattan or the Bronx or wherever. It is absolutely insane. Like $9.3 million for a 3-bedroom apartment on the second floor of some building. And it's like, huh? And how much is that a month for all the and I don't know what you're doing up there in New York, but that's a lot of money.
It's like the
but that is,
what is it? The show called Flip or Flop, or you gonna flip or flop? So you watch that, and they go to the people that are either going to flip their house or sell it, whatever it is.
Love it.
That's not. No. I'm sorry. That's the wrong one. That is.
Love it or listed.
Love it or that's it. Love it or listed. So they go to those people and they say there is a flip or flop, but they go to those people, love it or listed, and it's like, okay, well, what's your budget? Well, we're looking for a house that's probably $900,000 to $1 million. Okay, well, what do you do for a living? Well, she babysits and I shave puppies. Like, what? How can you can afford that? What the heck, man?
And we want them to be in a good school district with a private school.
Yeah. Oh, now I will say this. I read a story today that there are some shows that we probably watched back in the 90s and 80s that are getting rebooted, and they're going to be out this year. Ren and Stimpy. I remember Ren and Stimpy. That's coming back.
Yeah.
I didn't like it back then.
You didn't?
No,
I
I never.
a fan.
I was never into Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, it was with Powdered Toast Man and the horse. We got 10 minutes left, by the way.
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead are coming back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell.
That's a thumbs up for that. Yeah.
Saved by the Bell, Fresh Prince.
Now we're talking.
Animaniacs. That's coming back.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Odd fact, I probably know more Saved by the Bell trivia than any normal human being.
And anyone should.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be good.
I'd go along with that.
I mean, are they going to make Zach the principal? They have to.
I mean, that summer where it was pretty much just me and you down there in Huntington, and we watched it every day. I mean, you were reciting episodes word for word. I mean, back then. So. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, Mr. Belding.
I don't know if that'll be good. That's just one of those shows that, like, you turned it on accidentally, right, when we were kids. Like, you didn't, like, because there was no Twitter, obviously, or anything like that. So you just
found it. Was called Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
Right.
Sorry.
And you just found it, and you related to it because you were in school, right? You're like, oh, okay, I get it, Slater and the whole deal. And I don't know if a reboot, like, will capture the same thing. I don't see that succeeding.
You can't reboot Screech. I mean,
well, thank goodness.
You can't break him out of jail either.
And, I mean,
there's only one Lisa Turtle.
True. Screech, Dustin Diamond came to Huntington doing stand-up comedy. Okay. And he would do these little radio stops, and he would go and promote the show at the Funny Bone. Well, he came into the station, and I got my picture with Screech. So I went and I got it printed off, and he came back into the station. Like, it was either the next day he came back or the next year he came back and did another show. And I was going to sign my picture and give it to him and say, Screech, good luck at Bayside, and then sign it and give it to him. But he absolutely hated talking about Saved by the Bell. You bring it up, he absolutely hated it.
Eve Plum from the Brady Bunch was the same way. And I'm like, that's what you're known for. Like, how can you, like, embrace it, man? Like, run with it. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I mean, you look at a show like Game of Thrones, like the kid. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys watched that, but there was a kid actor on there who was like as bad, as good a bad guy, and hated, and he got so much like crap out in real life. I mean, it drove him away from acting. So it happens.
Yeah.
Johnson, you want to talk about season 8, or no, you don't want to do that?
No.
For Game of Thrones? Guess not.
No.
I didn't see any of those. I know
I didn't either. I just heard season 8 was a train wreck.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it, but
I'm
not hard to please either.
I don't know. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I didn't watch The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead's legit.
I didn't watch what was the other? there was another big one that was really popular that went around, and again, Tiger King. I didn't watch that.
What?
I've never seen Breaking Bad.
Yeah, me either.
I had to stop like I think it was like a season or two in. There was an episode with these two meth heads and their little boy, and it crushed me. Like the little boy was just sweet, and he's just living with these crackheads, and I was like, I can't watch this. This is terrible. So I never went back to it. But you've never seen Tiger King, Philio?
No, never have.
Oh man,
it is the train wreck that keeps on giving.
it
dude.
is a
car
wild
after
ride,
car.
man.
It's so bad. It's good.
Holy cow! That dude ran for president.
Yeah.
Joe Exotic, is that his name?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so bad. It's good.
You think every episode you're like, all right, that's the craziest thing. And then the next episode comes out and you're like, I don't even know what it is going on now. There's a guy that's like a drug dealer in it. He's kind of like based off Pablo Escobar Scarface is based off of him loosely. And he's the most sympathetic character in the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, like he seems like a pretty normal, cool guy. He's like this big,
good
huge drug
guy.
kingpin. It's insanity.
No, I can't.
That's a
do that.
podcast.
Sure it is.
It's crazy.
All right, so we got about 4.5 minutes left. And we want to end this, as we always do, with Johnson right in the middle of a story. So if anybody has anything before.
He gets the heart out like
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
on Levitard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still
See,
talking when we go
I
black.
thought Sags was trying to trick me into it with the Game of Thrones thing. I thought we were already running out of time. That's why I'm like, no, I ain't gonna fall for that.
I was wondering why you just stared at the camera.
Yeah,
He was like,
I got thought. Yeah, I definitely have thoughts on it, but
well, you got 4 minutes to get them out.
nah.
Is that the fun?
Not falling for it tonight, fellas.
Season 8. No, I'm being serious. Is season 8 the final season of Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because all I ever heard about it was like the whole last episode, and they had like a 40-minute battle, but it was completely in the dark.
That makes sense.
There were some
Sounds
lighting
terrible.
issues. there were some lighting
Some lighting issues.
but it was also at nighttime. So
Okay, I'm not trying to bait you in on it. I've never seen it, but I thought that's a hell of a way to end the season with a 40 minutes of dark screen. I mean, that'd be like Philly. I'll tune in for his radio
Fair
show,
point.
and all of a sudden it's just dead air for 30 minutes for him doing sign language.
That's that's the best episode I've done, by the way. With nothing like that. The very first show I did on my sports fill-in show was a day that we had all kinds of flooding and thunderstorms and bad downpours. So like every 12 seconds, the EAS alert fired. It's like, beep. First show, no content. Thank you, appreciate it. It's a way to kick things off.
Johnson, since I'm out of the loop, what is it that you do that allows you to work from home, and be that busy?
I work for a site. It's called Connect Bridgeport. It's basically an online newspaper. It's all web based. So.
And what do you think of the governor?
Kind of sick of seeing his face right now. I'll tell you that much. We talked about that last week. I actually had to go to cover an in-person press conference this week on top of it. He was in Bridgeport where he announced like $20 million worth of road paving projects. And I had to
Was he late?
Was
he late?
About 10 minutes. But,
Hope you wore boots. It gets a little deep.
oh, yeah.
Were any of the road paving projects in Mason County?
He said all 55 counties. So
Okay. Man, Route 2 is terrible. Oh, my God.
Yeah. All right, we
Is it
got
route or route?
Is it route? Route 2?
Route 2.
You say route 2?
Route 2. Route 2.
Route 2. You drive by Lee Sage when you go up Route 2. We got 1 minute left here on the show. And who's got it? Is it Johnson next week? Bang, bang.
Corso, thanks for coming.
Think it is.
Hey guys, thank you for inviting me. It was great seeing all of you.
Listen,
Glad
man,
to
we-
see everybody's
Yeah,
doing well.
absolutely, man.
Don't be a stranger, man. We want you to come back.
Bring
Have a
politics.
topic. We'll go at it.
I would love to.
We do it every week, man. So love to have you.
Good deal. Well, thank you guys so much.
All right. We'll see you guys. Johnson, final thoughts?
Now I'm gonna go take my dog outside.
Okay, that's it.